So, hi Bloom, how are you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm also doing amazing. So, we can just go ahead and jump right into it. Can you talk to us a little bit about what this film is all about?
Um, yeah, this film is like it's a great classic underdog story, about a kid who wants to like do something that no one else believes that he can. And he goes out and, you know, works his butt off. Um, and throughout this journey, he like learns a lot about himself. And I think it's like when you do something hard or challenging, you're forced to face certain realities about who you are. And I think that's this journey and this experience is what the film is all about.
Yeah,
I know,
no,
and a lot
that's
of other things too, but you know what I mean. We could talk an hour about that.
yeah, no, that's super exciting. So, the movie kind of starts off by presenting Chang as like not your like typical basketball
Wait,
player.
did you like the movie?
I did, yeah. I didn't get
All
to
right, cool,
finish it
cool.
though, so I'm excited for it to come out so I can finish it.
All right,
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool. Okay, 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 okay.
But it kind of starts off with like not your typical basketball player. So where did his love for the sport come from?
Um, I think growing up, it's like basketball. This is where I would kind of like just put in my own experience, right?
Mhm.
Growing up with like immigrant parents, I kind of had to like figure out, how to learn America culture on my own. And I think with basketball, it's just one of those things that's like so easy because it's really enjoyable to watch and it's also really enjoyable to play. And when you go out and play basketball, like you can forget about like, like your race, your blah 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 blah, blah like your class, like all these things, and you just like play the game. You can make friends. You can
Yeah.
start to like understand, just like understand life and stuff through the game. I think that's why I think Chang is such a big fan.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm also such a big fan.
Yeah. No, so that's amazing. So did you actually end up playing any sports in high school, like when you were
Yeah,
in
yeah,
school?
yeah.
Yeah. What
I
sports did
play
you play?
I play sports my entire life. I played basketball and then I ran track and field mainly. Those are like the two like ones that I was like on the team for.
Okay, very cool. So since you played a little bit of basketball, did you find it easier when you were doing the training process for this movie? Because like obviously we've seen the clips of him documenting his training process and he's like lifting weights, he's running up hills, he's doing all these really crazy things. So what was the training process for you personally like?
Yeah, so I had like a dunk coach, like basically someone who like a professional dunker who taught me like all the ways to get better at like running and jumping technique. And we had to train to get like make sure I was like in good enough shape to like just like film the movie itself.
Mhm.
I was very familiar with like a lot of the training already prior to shooting and like prior to getting casted because I've done all those weightlifting exercises and those jumping exercises beforehand. So that familiarity was like very nice to be comfortable doing all those different things. But yeah, we had like a month of kind of just like getting weight training like under me and making sure my knees and like everything were like healthy,
Yeah.
getting like jumping practice in, and then getting actually like basketball skills tighter. You know what I mean? Like I can play, but like to get things to like look good on film, it's like you got to make sure like it's really tight.
Yeah. And so what was the most difficult part about all of that for you? Like, did you have one thing that you really struggled with when you were like practicing everything?
Not necessarily in terms of training, but I realize like how difficult it is to shoot a sports movie. Like not saying like Chang is like a sport, like we're not talking like Creed 3, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
still like it's still like a sports movie in the sense that there are days on set where I'm just like running, like for hours. And which is like I'm like, oh, like thank goodness, like I have been quote unquote an athlete my entire life because like I would be dead. So I think, and then like you run for hours and then you still have to act. You know what I'm saying? You still have to have the energy to be present, be in the scene, and like be able to have everything like together. And that's like one day, and the next day you kind of do it again. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
like I think that was like the part I underestimated initially when I started, but became quickly kind of my favorite aspect because that shit is hard. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is like let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you've been in a couple of other shorts and like TV series and things like that.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you to be able to film such a big feature for like a huge platform like Disney?
It was crazy, yo. It was crazy. It's crazy. I mean, again, like I think starting out. coming from where I come from. And even like when I started this career, to be able to feel like, this was like the dream, or this is like one piece of the dream, you know what I mean? And then like sometimes the dreams you get them and then you show up and you're like, oh, you're like, can I curse on this? Is
Yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah.
yeah? Go, 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 go. Yeah, you show up, yeah, because it's Disney, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah, yeah.
you show up on set, you hit a dream and then you show up on set. But for me, I showed up, I was like, fuck, like, can I do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just because like I am the lead, right? Like I am in every single scene in this movie. Besides like one, so
Yeah.
like every day, like it's like the thing is like with actors, like you could get the camera ready, you could get everybody there, you get 100 people there, you could plan everything, you could spend all the money, but like if the actors doesn't go and like it doesn't work, then
Yeah.
like it's done. So for me, like showing up, I was like, I got the part. I was like, yes, and I show up on set. Like the first like couple of days, I was like, oh my god, like this is wild. But then quickly, I was like, yeah, like this is what I was meant to do in a lot of ways.
Yeah. No,
Like
that's
I
amazing.
found comfort really quickly.
Yeah. So it's been really exciting to see how much like Asian representation is at the forefront of media right now. So what did it mean to you to be able to star in a film like this coming from like in how you were saying like your parents were immigrants, like that kind of background?
Yeah, it's big. It's huge, man. Like to imagine that some kid who is growing up similar than how I was is gonna be able to see this film and like feel like less lonely or like feel less seen is like, you know what I mean? Like all this other stuff is great, right? Like all this, like, like being a movie star, or like all this, everything is great. Like all this is like a lot of fun, right? But for me, it's like that is like you can't touch that. You know what I mean? Like to be able to do that for somebody, to be able to, some of the Disney movies are like some things I remember really cleanly about growing up. They're kind of core. And to be that for somebody else is like I it's overwhelming. It's a lot of responsibility, and I don't really even know like how to feel. I just know that it's like it's special.
Yeah.
And on the Asian representation, like yo, like our shit's been good forever. You know what I mean? And like people be catching on now, but it's like no, like I love our stories and like who we are as a community, and like I think we need to come with the attitude of like, of course, like obviously we're grateful and like we be gracious and like we should obviously be like, yo, like we're like grateful for like all this new representation, but there's also a side of it that's like, oh no, like this is the norm. You know what I'm saying? Like what, like it's not a special rare case that like, I
Yeah.
want there to be like, I want there to be like 20 Changs. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like us like all duking it out for like the best movie. Like that's like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be like the one like
Mhm.
is like the soul like I'm like because then it won't be like challenging, like I won't have like fellow artists to like be like to bounce off of and be like, yo, like how are we moving this forward? How are we
Yeah.
giving back to our communities better together?
Yeah. I feel like we're in like a really unique time right now because we're starting to see like a lot of the Asian American stories coming up because like obviously growing up we had like movies from back home that we could always watch and like feel that
Yeah.
representation, but
Where are you
it's
from?
oh, I'm from India.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Bollywood and all of that. So like
Yeah.
I've been
RRR
able to
popped off,
see
yo.
yeah, but it's like it's amazing being able to see like the Asian American or kind of like that like having to balance of like being the perfect amount of both or like figuring out what side you kind of relate more to. So I think that the story is going to be really amazing for people like that like struggle
I
with
think,
that.
I think like once we can get over our shit, you know what I mean? Like once we can like stop, like, it's because like there's so much friction in being Asian American. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? There's so much friction, and like with that friction is like fire, like literal fit like figuratively like content, like not content, but like stories, like you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
potential is so great. And I think this wave is really huge because like it's helping people like get over like the trauma of being Asian American, right? And then once you can alchemize that trauma, you can really start flying. And like I think that's like what I'm super excited for.
Yeah,
You know what I
no,
mean?
it's gonna be so great to see. I'm super excited for all the young kids that get to watch this who love basketball and they're like, oh my God, that's me. That's me on the screen
Right.
right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but for anyone specifically who definitely relates to a lot of Chang's experiences throughout the movie, what is one piece of advice that you would give them, whether that be for acting or basketball or just like living your life?
Um, there's probably just keep watching the movie. I'm kidding. Just watch the movie every day. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
watch it, share it with your friends,
Right,
make family watch
right.
it.
um, maybe two pieces, right?
Yeah.
One piece is like go trust yourself to go after what you want, right? Not necessarily like some institutional bullshit about like, oh, like do what you love. Like it's more just like there's a spark in you that like you want to do something or you have an idea, and like everybody around you a lot of times will tell you that like, oh no, no, like it's not possible, right? Or like it's you should. And I think my advice is just like trust yourself, you know? Because when you go on that journey and you like build up resilience and like you go through like toughness and like heartache and all these things, you become a better person, you know? You become a more capable person. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
if you see Chang at the start of the film and Chang at the end of the film, like that dude is different. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that dude is different. And like he had to earn that difference. And I so like any path you start walking down to and you start walking down and you take that step, um, it will change you, you know, and that in itself is already so valuable.
Yeah.
And the second piece is and realize that you have a lot more love in your life than you probably think you do. If you're feeling lonely, or if you're feeling unloved, if you're feeling there's probably people around you that you're not seeing clearly that have been there and will be there, and like be able to recognize that, you know, get your head out of the gutters, like phrase of speaking, but like you know what I mean, like, and I
Yeah.
think that shows in the movie. You know, it's like the love that people try to give Shang might not be what he wants or like what he expects, but like it's there,
Yeah.
you know, and like him coming around to that is actually what lets him fly at the end.
And so what was one of your favorite memories like while you were filming? It could be something that like ended up on the camera, something that happened behind the scenes.
Um, it's funny because this is a subplot. I'm like doing these interviews, and people asking me like my moment, and I feel like I've like given like three of them, and I'm like, I hope they don't like. I hope they. I'm not taking favorite too literally.
Yeah.
I think there was one day where like in we're filming the scene where like Chang goes to like dunk it in the gym,
Mhm.
like for like the bet, and then like a lot of the Brunel like marching band drum line was there. Um, and a lot of my castmates were there. So that scene in itself is like a scene of like he dunks it and it's like just hype, you know, it's just
Yeah.
like fun and like we're just celebrating. And that day on set kind of felt like that pretty much, you know. So I think that was probably one of their days because like you had all these like high schoolers who are just like, oh my God, we're in a fucking Disney movie, you know, and like they're
Yeah.
like hype and like it's like a fun hype scene and like everyone's like cheering and like having fun and like you kind of can forget about the whole like, oh, like we're making a movie and like the seriousness of you know, a lot of the, you know, like it's a serious thing, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things at stake. But I think that was probably one of my favorite days because one, because it's a lot of fun, right? Two, all my castmates were there, right? And we were all like celebrating. Even Chase, who gets like his head buzzed, like it was a great time. And three, because I knew I was like looking at these kids and I was like, oh, like, and at this point I was like pretty tired. Like we were like kind of like deep into the shit. But I was like looking at these kids and I was like, oh no, like you're gonna like, remember this, right? And this is gonna be like a great memory for you. I'm like, oh yeah, like let's like make it something to remember.
Yeah.
And I think that was really special to me.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. It was such a blast getting to speak with you. And since I
Oh, we
actually got to
done?
see,
All right, cool.
yeah, but it was such a blast getting to speak with you. And since I got to see it a little bit before the official release, I can't wait to see how audiences are going to love the movie. So, was
Yeah.
there anything that you wanted to just add in before we wrapped up the interview today?
Um, I just want to say, I don't know, like go see the movie. Go see the movie, not because like it's like, you know, I need you to see the movie because like it does well, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit about that, right? It's
Yeah.
more Don't put that underneath. It's more that like it's like like I think as an actor doing press for like kind of the first time, it's like I feel like everything I say is falls short in terms of like what I can communicate
Yeah,
through what I put into the film already. What I mean? So everything that I have to say really is in the movie, right? And like I
yeah,
hope you watch it, and I hope they like it. Obviously, I hope they get to that. If they don't like it and they have issues with it and stuff, I want that too. You know what I mean? I want people to respond to it. I want them to be like I want it to affect them. Whether that's positive or negative, like I can't control that. You know what I mean? But like please like go see the movie. Because if you don't see the movie, then we can't talk about it. You
yeah.
know?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. But you were such a blast to talk today. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. It was so great getting to meet you, and I can't wait for everyone to watch the movie.
Thank you so much, Serena. I
Yeah,
appreciate
no
it.
problem.